Night, folks. How are we all feeling? Are we a bit nervous? Are we buzzing? Are we a wee bit scared? Who's afraid of Barry's Brogy Bears? Are they smarter than the average bear? I guess we'll find out this weekend. It's one of those ones again. It's that fixture, but I'll tell you something that you should be. You should be happy because it's Friday night on the bus, and as always, you know what that means. It is time for that Friday feeling, and in case you've been living under a rock, it is Glasgow Derby week. And yes, myself and Liam, as always, will be here to talk about it. So, Canada's favourite Tim, the wise man of the bus, are you ready to expend some knowledge on us tonight about this huge fixture? Because the mission is very clear for Celtic. It is quite simply win, and we will be 2 more victories from 4 in a row. The incentive is there. Maybe even some revenge is in the air, Liam. So, must be excited to get into this one, mate.
I'm hoping so. I mean, I also forgot it was St. Patrick's Day basically this weekend as well. So that's great. They'll be shutting down the streets soon where I am, and all the Irish bars will be doing daft green beer and stuff like that. But means I'll see a few extra hoops walking about this weekend as well, because it is that weekend. It's the one we've waited all week for. I even took a wee peek of their game just to have a wee bit of scouting.
We scouting mission
today, and maybe some tactics we could advise. But I'm loving this one. I'm loving it for so many reasons. This is, it feels like a big game. I try and explain that to my pals that don't support Celtic, or that it's like, guys that support hockey, like, it's like big game for them. It's the Stanley Cup and things like that. And I go, no, every time we play them, it feels like a Stanley Cup or a World Series, or, like it's always a big game because it means so much. And it doesn't matter if it's a dead rubber or not. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, well, you're saying you're looking forward to it all week. As I've said on Tuesday night to Russell and Regan, I've been looking forward to it since full time in January when we got absolutely humbled at Ibrox, because my mentality was, I don't think Brendan Rodgers will allow that to happen again. And it'll be interesting to see how it goes when we play them on our own patch at Celtic Park. And yeah, obviously the dynamic has changed massively in the league since then. So we'll be getting into that very, very soon, talking about it as always. And but before we do that, before we go any further, you know what you can do, everybody. You can do all of that good stuff. So of course you can hit the old like button first and foremost and help us with the old traction on YouTube, the algorithm, CSC, get the bus recommended in more people's inboxes. Friday night, as I always say, is a very busy night in the world of Celtic YouTube. So thanks again for choosing us. That's always first and foremost. Myself and Liam are always happy to see you on board. Get involved in our comment section tonight. So let's do a roll call and see who is in tonight. James Kennedy is here. 420 somewhere is here. Ian McIntosh is here. Graham Tyrrell, of course, he's here. Of course he is. He's got the klaxon ready. Will we even be discussing him, of who the klaxon belongs to tonight? I hope not. Joe Henry is here. Smell the glove. 420 somewhere. Chris D, Gary Brown. As I always say, I always use the same line all the time. But again, it's all the favourites on the bus. It's all killer. It's absolutely no filler. So welcome aboard, guys. Take your seats. Take your usual seats, because you're all regulars now, so you know where to sit on the bus. If you're new to the bus, though, if you're not a regular and you've only just discovered this channel, then hey, hit that subscribe button and keep us in your life that wee bit longer. And of course, hit the bell notification and you'll be notified when the Bhoycie Bus is on the road. And you can go over to piesports.com. The logo is that side, whatever side it is on your screen, top right corner. Head over to piesports.com. And the code BUS1888 will unlock 12.5% off of your order and get you some nice tasty pastry treats for watching the game. But not too many, because, it's not the most healthiest of options, to say the least. But yeah, do indulge. Those macaroni pies are quite nice. I've had them before from there, so they're always good ones. So yeah, do that. And what else? Oh, wait a minute, what's that, Liam? I hear people from the back shouting, Phil, who's the mystery player tonight? Well, I will tell you, tonight's mystery player, we've got another one queued up. He's had a career with 5 clubs in it, of only 5 clubs, and here we go. It is Wolverhampton Wanderers. Then he played for Celtic, then Cardiff City, then Accrington Stanley. Who are they? Exactly. And then Derby County. So yeah, it's the 5 clubs that he played for: Wolves, Celtic, Cardiff City, Accrington Stanley, and Derby County. We will reveal the person at the end of the show and have a wee chat about them and any memories we have of them. So yes, Liam, with all that said and done, let's get this Friday feeling on the road. Let's get into it. It's Glasgow Derby week. As I said, I have been counting down eagerly since January the 2nd, I believe we played them at Ibrox when we got absolutely trounced. And yeah, I say revenge is in the air. Does Brendan Rodgers even do revenge? He always seems very calm and, doesn't give too much away when it comes to his press conferences. He isn't one who goes out there shouting and screaming in front of the press. He's not always that animated, but I'd imagine behind closed doors, he'll be having a few words in some players' ears. But first and foremost, do you think now, I'm going somewhere with this. The question might sound a bit odd first, but do you think Celtic are ready for Rangers? As in, are we at the absolute peak of our performance right now? Do you have any last-minute worries about maybe, somebody might not turn up in terms of performance on the park, or do you feel like everyone's at peak performance right now?
I think if you look at our first 11, we're at peak performance right now. When you look at beyond that, it's anybody's guess. I think they have more depth than us because they have more mediocre players. That they're us more at the same level. This doesn't seem a big difference in my mind of the guys they put on the park. However, when I see Celtic, there's a big difference of once we move one of the cogs with a big machine in the middle. There's no much left. I've heard Scales is going to be out. He didn't train today.
Right.
So that's concerning as well, because that means we're the Rockies at the picture, I think. So it means that Adam Montgomery is our other backup in case anything happens to Cameron Carter-Vickers or Trusty. Yeah, it's but when I think about our first team and I think about that first 11, and I'm thinking, well, there's everything in that squad right there to get that job done. And that means the way we've been playing. And I think, you can only play who's in front of you. And I think we've no looked like the assassins, that we could be with like just pulling the trigger and putting teams away as the way we were doing earlier. But we still got that same process. We're still making the chances. And I think it's still there. And I think occasions. This is a team that's built on occasions. Brendan Rodgers, he's an occasions type manager. So it's a big occasion. We feel like this is a big game, regardless what the league is. We're so far ahead. We can afford to lose that one. We could afford to lose the last one as well. But no, I'm still bitter about that last one because that hurt. That was a punch in the gut for Celtic fans, and it was just an eye opener. And it was like, okay, Rodgers, that seemed a wee bit careless on your watch. It was it was an emphatic win that you couldn't really blame the referees for. I mean, it's fine stuff, but it just looked like we played the wrong team and we had the wrong tactic, and that team just powered over us. I think Barry's Brogue Bears are going to get with a similar type game plan. I don't know, and I think they're going to be tired as well. And I was glad they went in the extra time because I was thinking, okay, I'll be tired legs in that. And so, I love the fact that we can give them this emotional roller coaster because right now they're like, and then Sunday it's going to be wee. Miserable at work on Monday morning.
I really hope so, because I'm the same as you. When we obviously lost that game back in January, obviously the bigger picture, and I did try to look at the bigger picture when I was on the PMP with Terry and Russell not long after it, where it was like, well, we're still, I believe at that point we were still 11 points in front. So you're like, okay, I mean, it's obviously a blow. We've lost our undefeated domestic run for the season, but again, I was drawing comparisons to Martin O'Neill's first season in charge. We won a treble. The first game we lost that season was to Rangers, where we lost 5-1. But ultimately, at the end of the season, it didn't really matter. And I had a feeling at the time, them beating us 3-0, I just felt like, this won't matter. I think Terry even said on that PMP, don't be surprised if in the next couple of weeks they go and drop more points and suddenly we're back to the gap it was. And here we are sitting, 16 points just now. So it's actually more than what it was going into the game in January. Because their season has just gone. Even after that big win, you thought maybe they'll try and mount a wee bit of pressure on us here, but no, they've had many stumbles along the way. Clement's gone now. So you say it's Barry. Barry and his brogues are in now. I think in terms of him, obviously he's not managed at that higher level when you look at it. Kelty Hearts, Alloa, those types of teams. But one thing that he will definitely instill into that team, because they can't beat us playing football, Liam. They can't do that. But of course, that Barry and his backroom team, because we did discuss this a few weeks ago, this is something that many, many Rangers fans out there in the old Twitter sphere, you always see them, when they talk about what they want in the dressing room at Ibrox, they just want somebody that hates the Fenian bastards, someone that will just get stuck into them. Well, they got the wish. They got Barry Ferguson and his whole band of merry men. So that is something that he will definitely try. I mean, this is a guy that played under the likes of Walter Smith as Rangers manager, who was notorious for always telling his players, just stick one on them early doors. I wouldn't be surprised if we see that type of behaviour on something. They'll try and be physical with us. It's not the first time we've seen players in recent years from Rangers try to be physical with us. Remember the infamous John Lundstrom. Remember they all loved him because he was a bit physical. But again, Ange Postecoglou had the mentality, we'll just play football, we'll just play it around them. And I think Brendan Rodgers has got the same mentality. I don't think I'm worried about us trying to rise to the bait about them. There'll be niggly fouls and try to be physical. I think we'll still stick to the game plan, just keep trying to play football around them, Liam.
Well, I think it was against Barry Ferguson's team that Aguchi got rattled. I mean, that was
Cal McGregor with the face, getting the end of the face mask. Yep.
Well, yeah, it was a really bad tackle on him as well that put him out for months, and his Celtic career never really took off for that, and that was against Barry's lot as well. You're right, because the thing is, you've got all this footage of him on, I don't know what one it was, one of the TalkSport programs, where he was telling you his views after every match, and you could just see there's something about Barry Ferguson that is like maybe he's no better, but his body language and his facial expressions and all that, it always looks like he's seething. He always looks like he's ready on the verge of just exploding, and that might just be his angry resting face. But my God, needs a rest. It's he's arrested. Yeah, he's I think he might be what they need, though. You look at, they've brought in all these European type pedigree type managers, and they've not even been able to do it. And I don't know if it's about working with the players. It's about managing the fans' expectations more than ever. And he might be the one that's a bit more suited to that, because the clowns that they had on explaining what was happening to that, it was worse than listening to Boris Johnson and the government with the amount of spin and hyperbole put onto stuff where they're completely trying to make you believe you didn't see what you saw.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think Barry will be a breath of fresh air for them there.
Well, let's talk about one of the biggest issues going into this game. I say issue, but again, the Celtic board have made it a bit of an issue, because I've been on record on this show saying I am happy that there will now be an away allocation again, because I think we can't really preach that this is the best derby in the world when there's no away fans. But of course, to be clear, they started it. They 100% started it, and we have just returned the favour in kind. So it's also been very tit for tat for the last few years. Celtic have been very much, we want the full Broomloan end or nothing. And it's been back and forth. And obviously back in the summer, I think the SPFL sort of sat both teams down and said, this is the way it's going to be. And then, of course, the first two meetings this season, it didn't happen because, as Brendan Rodgers said at the time, we've done our part by installing a safety net, but apparently Rangers had not done their part. But it's all done, it's all in place now, and there will be away fans in there, so it will add to the atmosphere. But what's something else that does add to the atmosphere? And we're just going to go back a few years, Liam, to a very, very famous game in this rivalry under Ange Postecoglou. It was a midweek game under the lights, that game in February, the rearranged one. And one thing that always stands out from that is the atmosphere. It was hell for the Rangers players walking into that stadium that day. We made it hell for them. The noise, the colour, the pyrotechnics from the Green Brigade and whatnot. It just added to it. Now, of course, this isn't a nighttime game, and there is something special with games under the night. But even that, you can still generate a hell of an atmosphere, even in the daylight. And of course, one thing that adds to that is, of course, tifos. But apparently that ain't going to happen now because the Celtic board have said, nope, you can't have that Green Brigade. So I don't doubt for a second there will be a great atmosphere. It will still be loud. It will be fantastic. But yeah, the Green Brigade have also been told this week by the club due to some recent slaps on the wrists for some banners that they did. But at the end of the day, it seems like a lot of people around the world have been sharing the views of this this banner in particular about the current what's going on, the current situation in the Middle East. Many people agree with the message that the Green Brigade had. But yeah, Celtic board, that's one of the misdemeanors that they've said, nope, there'll be no tifos this coming weekend. But how are you feeling about that, Liam?
It's just an overreach for the board. It's the board forgetting who they are. They're not here to politicise and, like govern the crowd, like the way the government tries to do with censorship and things. Yeah, I think it's a complete overreach. It's censorship of the fans. What the fans want to express and what the fans are feeling has nothing to do with your board. They don't govern that part of your lives. They're here by the grace of the fans that built this team. They're very lucky to be sitting in these seats. So I don't care what their opinion is because I probably don't agree with some of their politics either, So I'll let you jump back to you before that guy. Oh, never mind. So
that's the board coming by.
It's the klaxon.
It's klaxon. It's klaxon, mate.
But yeah, I think it's just one of the overreaches of the board. I think it's just nothing but pure censorship. And Celtic, like it or not, is we are a fan base that has very strong opinions. We don't all agree on the same stuff, but I agree with your right to express it.
Yeah.
And I don't think the board should be telling you what you can and who you can and cannot celebrate. I've seen I think one was for the Show the Red Card campaign, which because it took legs and it got press and it got exposure and it created friendships even with teams we didn't expect to share our values and stuff. And so that sort of stuff with us, that shows that we're not alone and we're not wrong in this. The other one, which was a celebration of someone's life, I don't know too much about the guy because I don't know if you're Scottish or Irish or if it's political or not. But the fact is, if you make us sit and clap for monarchs and world leaders and all that, then if there's somebody that's got like a connection to the Celtic crowd and we think what they did, deserves awareness or tribute, then that's fair that the fans to decide. And I'm saying this fucking miles away. But yeah, I think the board just forget who made this club. It's the fans, and you should be following our lead and not the other way around.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, this fixture has brought out some of the most memorable tifos and whatnot, and say the atmosphere. The one that always stands out to me is the one in 2012 with the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse banner. That was phenomenal. That was top banter, and they had like the coffin passed it around as well. Fantastic stuff. But no, that element of the game has been taken away for Sunday. So, but I do not doubt for a second it'll be loud. It'll be frantic in the stadium. There'll be a lot of needle in there. I mean, people have been saying in the chat as well that they agree there needs to be that bit of hatred, that bit of needle in the air. It has to happen. It's like it just adds to the occasion. It adds to the fixture. And yeah, it's 2,500 around about there. So it's pretty much the European allocation that Celtic will get at Ibrox and Rangers will get at Celtic Park now. So when Celtic go to Ibrox in the last meeting in the season, it won't be that. It'll be part of that corner. We'll have that and a bit more of the Broomloan stand, because I think when they played Tottenham this season, if you saw when Tottenham's away fans, they were in a sort of like a bit at the bottom of the Broomloan stand and a bit at the back of it as well. So it's kind of like works out a bit more. I think we need the fans to be there, and I say it adds to the occasion. But yeah, there'll be no tifos and no banners. But ultimately, it comes down to what happens on the park, and of course, the one that we're all talking about, the one that everyone's waiting for, the one-on-one clash that always happens when this fixture comes along. It is the main event. It is the heavyweight contest. What's going to happen when Dyson Maeda and James Tavernier lock horns at some point during the game? I know what I think's going to happen and what I want to happen, because it's been pretty consistent for a wee while now. It seems like Mr. Tavernier cannot cope with Dyson Maeda, and even after the last game where Tavernier didn't play because he was injured and they played Rizvan at right back and Jeff Day was playing at left back. But either way, Maeda had a quiet game. The whole team were garbage that day, but Maeda just couldn't get into the game at all. So when that happened, one of my thoughts was, why I was also looking forward to the next meeting was, I've got a funny feeling that even though that worked for them and they kept Maeda quiet, who's normally a problem, I just had this feeling by the time March rolls around, no doubt about it, Tavernier will have found his way back into the team somehow. It's like we as Celtic fans, like, we love Tavernier for the fact that he's just a fraud. He really is. Like, he's a Hall of Famer to them and whatnot. And it's like, he's not that good. We've been saying it for so long, but all it takes him to score a penalty against somebody, and he's a hero again. And after the beat is there, you'd think that them as a club and as a fan base would maybe realise that Tavernier might be the problem here, by the way. He might be the problem. But no, he's back in the team now, and they've even moved him to a different position. They've tried him at centre-back. So regardless of where he starts on Sunday, whether they decide to play him as usual right-back or they put him in the middle, there will come a point where Maeda, because he's very fluid up front, even though he might play through the middle on Sunday, he will veer out to each side as well, just because that's the type of player he is. There will come a point, Liam, where James Tavernier will have to face the Reaper, and it comes in the form of Daizen Maeda, and I'm looking forward to it, mate.
I don't think he's ever come up against Daizen Maeda in this form that he's having. That's going to absolutely crush him. Like, you're seeing Daizen 3.0. It's like we've added more tools to the kit. We've upgraded the batteries. We've got the sprint. It's like getting a new batteries in your remote controller or something, because Daizen just looks sharper. And where Daizen's game and where it's been lately, and especially with Tavernier, is jumping on mistakes. His reaction to that goal in the weekend, Afaf when the goalkeeper tried to hold on to it, Daizen, you could just see his motion. He was going already in that position, and then just, with purpose, just roofed it into the net. I think that's what's going to be on their mind more than anything. Is that they can't make mistakes at the back. And look at Suter, look at Balogun, is it Jeffy, the other one. They're all nervous players. They've all got a mistake in them, and I think we've got 3 guys now up front. We're starting forward line. I think they're to punish their mistakes. They're the punishers, and I think that added threat now of Jota.
Yeah.
I mean, Tavernier, doesn't matter where he goes. I think there's 3 men there willing to expose him for the mistakes that are in him. And we know they're there. They're documented. They've been watching him in training all week. They've got loads and loads of footage of Tavernier losing his man, being turned the wrong way, not, perceiving the danger when it was actually, right behind him or beside him and that. And I imagine that we've looked on that is one of the things that we'll be looking for in our forward line, is to punish not just the stuff that we create, but to punish every single mistake they make.
Without a shadow of a doubt, because one of the things that we do a lot against them in recent years, even going back to when Ange was in charge, is we love to score a goal where we get to the byline and cut it back in some way, zip it across the goal. This season, the first meeting, which seems so long ago, and of course in the Rangers fans' mind, they don't even acknowledge this, and it's like, we did beat you 3-0 as well this season, don't you? I know it was at the start of the season, but it did happen. Maeda's goal in that one was basically getting to the byline, zipping a ball across. I think Robin Proper falls flat on his face, and Maeda puts it in the net. In the cup final, when we went 3-2 up with minutes to go, remember, it was Engels got to the byline, cut it back, and it was Nicholas Kuhn that put his 3-2 up, wasn't it? Of course, we couldn't quite see it out, but regardless, we do enjoy that move. And going back to when Andrew was in charge, I mean, Jesus Christ, the amount of times Maeda or Kyogo or Abada would just get to the byline, cut it back, and the other winger, whether it be Jota or Abada himself, would come in at the back post and score. And we laughed at Barisic constantly for it. He was always going to sleep on the back post, but it didn't matter if it came in through the left side or the right side. Whoever was fullback always seemed to go to sleep. And you would think, again, that Rangers would wise up to this because Celtic keep doing it. But it seems like even under Brendan, it's still continued, and we just seem to have a lot of luck there. So whoever's playing fullback for them, whether it's going to be Rizvan and Jeff Day, Tavernier starting at fullback, whatever, are going to have their hands full, because you are totally right as well to highlight Jota, because this is a guy as well who is shown in his first spell with the club. He loves this fixture, And of course, when players come back to a club, there's always a few question marks about, is he going to be as good as the first time around? And it's safe to say that Jota has pretty much hit the ground running. He hasn't really missed much of it. He's not even fully fit, you would say, as well. And he's putting out decent numbers already. He's looking pretty sharp, and he's not even fully fit. So imagine when he does get up to speed. But I think I've got the funny feeling the front three will be the most mobile of our front three to just keep their backline on their toes all game, because they've obviously had a slog of a match on Thursday night, taking all the way through to penalties. So I think it's wise that it's going to be Jota, Kun and Maeda. And as I say, Jota, I'm looking forward to seeing what he does as well. To say he is, I mean, his goal in that 4-0 one a couple of years ago, I know Henrik Larsson's chip is unbelievable, and it is one of the best of all time, but that chip was phenomenal. Again, the angle that he was at to lob the goalkeeper and didn't even stop the ball, didn't have to steady himself. It just came perfectly into his path from Matt O'Reilly. And just the technique to just think it over him. And of course, that was when we got the iconic, the celebration that he does. So maybe we'll see another one like that as well. Maybe it's set up for another one of those moments on Sunday, Liam.
I am hoping to see the fist to the sky, rebel till I die. I love that bit about Jota's game where he scores a big goal. He's got a big goal celebration. Got some iconic goal pictures of him. The one where he jumped up into the crowd and all that as well before he was leaving and stuff.
What about the brazen header in the cup semi-final? It was called Anthony Haggart. He called it the brazen header, and that's another one. Maeda, remember Rangers thought they'd given away a free kick. They all stopped because they were like, "Oh, it's going to be a free kick." And the referee was the only person that said it's no free kick, but Daisen Maeda was alert. And again, it was a ball across the goal to the back post, and he scored a header this time. Jota was not afraid of messing up his hair that day, mate.
Mate, we had when we had Abada on the wing as well, that I think all that goes back to that 3-0 game we won under the floodlights with Ange, and I thought Abada had a great game that game as well, and we were just like pinging him in for all over the place, and I'm hoping to see that again this weekend. What you said about getting to the byline, it's really good. I've seen Alistair Johnson doing it now. I've seen the only one I haven't seen hitting that is like Hatate. Because we've seen it for Jeffrey Schlupp now as well, where Jeffrey Schlupp is really good at taking the ball to the byline and cutting it back in. So I'm hoping with that added bit that, Maeda, he's the right guy to react to that. He's the guy that can move and get fast. He might sclaff one or two, but his percentage really lately of, hits to misses, the hits have far outweighed the misses, and I really love it. He's added that part of his game. Kun's the one, the two players I want to see something from this weekend. I want to see Kun coming up and playing a bit more better game. I think he's dropped off at one point.
He has been a bit quiet, actually. Do you think he's able to do since Jota came back? Have you noticed that his numbers have dropped since Jota returned? Do you think that's maybe weighing on his mind in some way?
I don't think it should, because I think
it shouldn't.
It looked like we were trying to we were looking at the long face in that a couple of times when he was substituted for Jota. And that when he came off and he wasn't looking too happy. But I think that's good. But he's played himself back into the team through Maeda being so good at playing through the middle right now that Kun is our best player on that wing. It's funny, I watched the Rangers game the other night there. Just to, I want to see what they look like before we play. And even their commentators couldn't hide it. It was just whoever McCoy. Right, get the ball to Cerny, and every ball was going out to Cerny, and that was the only time that they had any real success.
Yeah,
and so I'm thinking, I saw a lot of similarities in Cerny and Kun. They both take that ball on the wing. It's like one or two steps, they drop the shoulder, and then they start going yards. 3 pushes into the middle of the park, and they're looking to line up the shot in one of them. Is the ball coming again?
He's basically an out ball for them. That's essentially it. It's it shows that a bit one-dimensional, as you're saying. McCoist was playing cheerleader last day on commentary. Get it to Cherny, it's just like constantly. So that seems to be the only ball. So of course, logic would dictate, Liam, if you shut down Cherny, you shut down pretty much their threat going forward. Because my dad watched them as well. He gave it a watch. I didn't bother, but anyway, he gave it a watch, and he says a lot of it's just long ball with him. just big long balls. That's all they play. That's what they're just hoping to do. So again, it's like, just shut that down. Just be aware of it. It's coming. Long balls can obviously cause a bit of carnage at times because the way footballers are programmed nowadays, every one of them's like a bloody robot. You know, the idea of a long ball can scare some footballers. So you just got to be ready for it. Because they did it even when Goldson was still there. That was one of their things. Just get it to Goldson, punt it about 60 yards up the park, and hopefully Morelos holds it up the top. And yeah, so it's nothing new. And probably they'll try and bring to the table. And yeah, Czerny, you know, he's shown at times this season, he's obviously got something to his game. You know, even in that cup final we played them, where they got that late equaliser. The ball that he played in, I do think that Carter Vickers and Ralston both went to sleep when the ball came in. But at the same time, it was a good delivery. It was into that area that goalkeepers don't like. You know, it just lands just in that sort of just the middle of the 6-yard box. And yeah, it's not a comfortable place for them. So he has got something there. So we just need to make sure that we we keep him quiet. And also to one of our viewers right now in the comments, Wilson QW, don't put this out in the universe. Celtic should start Yang, Ida and Forrest, then bring on Maeda, Kun and Jota for the last 30 minutes. No, don't even suggest that. As funny as it would be, but no, I don't think that'll happen. No, James Forrest is back in training. I did see that today. So we need James Forrest to get a goal somewhere between now and the end of the season, as you keep saying, Liam, so that Jerry McCulloch will stop reminding us on Celtic TV commentary that he scored every season for the last 14 years, whatever it is. So he needs to get a goal somewhere, so hopefully he does. But hey, maybe he'll come off the bench. I don't know, he's just back for injury. I don't know if Forrest will be in the matchday squad. I think Ida will be on the bench, he'll get on at some point. And hey, Yang, he was a controversial figure last Friday, Liam. We were talking about Yang and the Yang gang. Russell was not having it at all, mate. But Yang, my mentality is still very much this. Yang still has a lot to prove. But with the way things are right now and what's on the line, with the treble being there, if Yang can contribute something from the end of the season, a bit similar to what James Forrest did this time last year, where out of the blue, he began scoring goals, getting assists, and it helped us to get over the line. Hey, the treble's on the table here. We need every single player that comes onto the park to be contributing in some way. And if Yang, even though it's taken him a while to actually start contributing, and as Russell did say last week, you know, his bar has been set so low and the expectation is so low that anything he does is obviously seen as brilliant. But I say at this stage of the season, we was on the line. If he gets a few goals that help us over there, then absolutely fantastic. Now, a name that you did mention, we're going to have to talk about it. I agree completely when you mentioned Jeffrey Schlupp. He has to play. He has to. And that is something that's in the back of my mind. That I think Brendan will go with Jeffrey Schlupp. I think the Taylor days are winding down, but at the same time, there's this wee niggling feeling in the back of my mind, Liam. I don't know what it is, where I think sometimes Brendan looks at but the experience of the fixture, and I don't know. I think that Schlupp will deal with them quite well. I think he'll be okay. And again, because he'll be up against Czerny. You know, we talked about Czerny there. It'll be that side that Schlupp will be on. So I think he'll be able to cope with him. But there's just this wee feeling that I'm like, that team sheet's going to come out and Taylor's going to be on it. And I just think we need to stick with Jeffrey Schlupp now. If Taylor isn't signing a deal, which looks to be the case, and Schlupp, even though nothing's finalised yet, but it's right there where we can get him on a free in the summer and he can continue on, then I think it makes all the sense. It has to be Jeffrey.
I mean, even if we don't sign Jeffrey, and I really hope we do, it just shows you how much balance was required on that side to sort of make us a much better team. And that balance, what was missing was a really powerful physical left back that could work defensively, but also had the power to go past a man, or even just take those brave steps where you want to run through the middle with the ball, which I've seen him doing. Those like courage. That's what I really like about Schlupp. He commits himself, he gets in there, he will take you to the byline, he will drag players with him, he will go and commit to a tackle. I think he's fantastic in the air. So I think a lot of the stuff that Rangers used to pin us back last time, that shock and awe tactics of just like pounding it forward all the time, that worked on Greg Taylor. I don't think it's going to work on Jeffrey Schlupp. And I think that gives us, with the addition of Jota on that wing, providing we can get a really good game out of Hatate, then that left side of the park doesn't look as vulnerable as what it did when we were getting beat 3-0 by them. because they looked like they could have scored more in that game. Hate to give them the credits and that, but it was just because our left side of the park was poor. And funny enough, the goals came through the middle and stuff as well. I think people had said that we had the flu and there was things like going on that week that I know threw this Celtic team off, but that was a team that just looked like it didn't click. It didn't look like they had found or regained some sort of form. It just looked like us playing really, really bad. And that vulnerability in us just encouraged them to move forward with it and gave them everything they need to snatch it in front of their home crowd. Because if they were on a pasting that day, I don't think we'd even seen Barry Ferguson there, you know. It was like they might have kept on with Clement or something, or, you know, and just try and work their way through it. But yeah, I don't have any of that, despite watching them the other night and seeing what they had to offer, watching everything come to Czerny. There was nothing that I thought that he offered that we couldn't beat. He's got that move that goes into the inside, and I think once he gets in the inside there, I think we should have enough to do it up. Also, first goal that they scored, I love Kasper Schmeichel.
Yeah.
Great addition, but he looked very, very slow and lethargic getting to that one. Me looking from the distance it went in, I'm thinking, I think you could have saved that. You know?
He needed some WD-40 on his hinges, so slowly he got down to that one. There was a squeak, an audible squeak when he dived for it, because I said that at the time, but Russell was there. That me and Terry were both on the PNP and said that. We went, I think Kasper could have done a bit better there. I mean, it's not the most powerful of shots we had, Jay, but anyway, it was just part of a massive shit show that day. Alistair Jack, he's renewed his membership. He's a member for 26 months now. Thanks for sticking on board, Alistair. And he's got a question. He's also sent in a question with his membership renewal, saying, would you guys look at Penrice from Hearts? Well, we're on the subject of left backs. I think he was at one of the better talents outside of the big two in Scotland. You know, and we're looking at, you know, we'll try to keep this Scottish contingent for UEFA squads and whatnot. And, you know, we can't have James Forrest forever and Anthony Ralston and whatnot. We can't keep renewing their deals. We need to have players as well that do contribute. And I think Penrice looks quite lively. And maybe Russell's right in what he's saying about Schlupp, where it's not just going to be cut and dry that he's going to be just the backup left back, because he's got a multitude of different positions he can play. He may be seen as, you know, get him on board because he can play left back when he needs to. He can play in central midfield, wide left, whatever. We can rotate him around a little bit. But Penrice is definitely somebody that's impressed me. I mean, the game that we played against Hearts at Tynecastle this season, which ultimately we did go on and win, he was giving us a lot of problems, if I remember right, in that game, and getting down that, well, their left-hand side or right. We were having a few problems. So he is somebody that I would, again, be a person of interest, as the saying goes, Liam.
Well, you know, you talk about the flexibility of Schlupp. You know, what we're looking at now is we're bringing in Tierney. Do we know Tierney's even going to play left back?
Tierney was playing left wing for Arsenal through the week, apparently.
I said it one of the previous podcasts. I mean, you might see he might be the replacement for Trusty. You know, moving him in that left part of the centre back pairing, and I think that might be a good move as well. But showing up on the wing the other night for Arsenal, that was like that one I didn't expect at all. And I guess why wouldn't you? I mean, it just seems so much as like a fullback, you know. But he actually is a great crosser of the ball. The times goals he's scored where he comes in and he's hit it with his right, you know, unsuspecting. There was that couple of goals he scored for Arsenal that were absolute peaches, you know. Like, I think one was during the COVID season when I think it was his first goal for Arsenal.
Against West Brom, cuts inside with his right foot and bends it in the far corner.
Yeah,
there was a Tierney moment I loved in recent years for Scotland. It was for Scotland. Remember they beat Spain in the qualifiers? Of course McTominay scored both, because who else scores goals for Scotland? But the second goal they scored that night, it was that whole thing where Robertson and Tierney basically rotate who goes forward, and Tierney just marauded up the left-hand side, got to the byline, cut it back or crossed it in, and Spain sort of cleared it, but it fell to McTominay, and he put in. But that goal came from Tierney, who, of course, as the sources always say, is just crocked all the time. But that was not a player that looked crocked to me. He was able to run about 80 yards with the ball, just right up that touchline, got the cross in, and so we ended up scoring. I loved that goal. Loved it.
You know, that's one of the things I loved about Martin O'Neill. Martin O'Neill had a very good record of identifying players that might not be in the right position. And putting them. He did it with Petrov. and then again, even with how he treated Chris Sutton, and Henrik Larsson and that as well. I remember I had eyes on Larsson when he was in the World Cup in the USA, well before he was a Celtic player. He was injured at the time. And thinking, okay, a couple of years before he came in, I was like, this is a player here on the wing and all that. But moving him into the middle was a much, much better, prospect. I swear, you look at players like Gareth Bale. Gareth Bale started at a left back until...
So he did, yeah, he did.
I don't know, was it Harry? No. Somebody had the vision to see him up front.
Harry Redknapp was the Tottenham manager. It was Harry Redknapp, yeah.
That saw something in him that he would be a better target man. And I want to see Rodgers have that. I was hoping that sort of savvy would show up at the left back, where maybe we've got a player playing in the centre would be better fitted to, giving us that power and stuff in the left back position that we weren't getting. And I don't know. Yeah, I mean, the movement of Maeda from wing to centre forward, I don't want to give him too much credit in that, because that could have been that's something that he even identified himself in pre-season games a couple of years ago, that Maeda was actually a bona fide centre forward and all that. And it just sort of confuses me that you can't play there because Kyogo's there. Like, you might see more courage for your managers as well, whereas it's like, if one player's not playing in position, try him somewhere else.
Yeah. I think we touched on it last week, and I know Russell mentioned it a way back 18 months ago, early on in Brendan's second tenure. There were wee clues that he was maybe looking at playing Kyogo a bit off the forward line, a bit behind him, maybe the number 10 rows, all the analytics talk about nowadays, the number 10. But as I say, I think when you look at the options at the time, that would mean if Maeda came into the middle, then the wing was, Yang wasn't really doing anything. A year and a half ago, the idea of James Forrest being a starter for Celtic was like, what? No, I know he came in at the end of last season and did what he did, but yeah, go back to August 2023, and if I said to you, James Forrest should be starting for Celtic, most fans would be like, no. Palmer was a bit hot and cold. He started quite well and then he faded away. So I just think the idea of Maeda moving into the middle, I think he got cold feet on that. And of course, Kuhn hadn't arrived at that time. Jota had just left. So yeah, he was a bit bereft of wing options if he brought Maeda into the middle. So although as irony would have it, just before Kyogo left, where was he playing Kyogo? In the last couple of games before he left, played him out wide, and he was actually quite good there. As irony would have it, imagine that. So he could have tried a wee switcheroo sometimes, where he put Kyogo out wide and put Maeda through the middle. Also, one more point as well on Jeffrey Schlupp, and this is a fantastic observation from Smell the Glove, right? After shutting down Elise, Czerny won't be a problem for Big Jeff. That's right. In the Bayern Munich game, Elise was quiet. He was quiet in the second game because Jeffrey Schlupp was pocketing him. So it was like, well, if Michael Elise plays for Bayern Munich, who are an elite European club, and he is a French international. France, they are one of the best international teams, and we saw what he did, the damage he did to us in the first leg. Yeah, Jeffrey played well against him, so it's like, well, if you can play well against him, you've got to imagine he can deal with Vaclav Czerny. So that's a great point from Smell the Glove there, Liam.
Aye, a very good point there. Yeah, I'm forward to see that matchup. I want to see Schlupp playing against it. I think we've always been weak on that side, and I think it took away from a lot of our build-up and a lot of that having Greg Taylor in there. I think in those games, and I know he scored an early goal in one that we played in, but he was also terrible at the other end as well. So, sound of Clarkson. I really hope he's not playing it, and if Brendan's going for an experience thing, that's the experience that nearly turned me off watching football. So it's a terrible experience.
Yeah, but maybe Jeffrey should have experience per se of this fixture. But in terms of what he's done in the game, you can say winning the English Premier League as part of Leicester's team in 2016. And he's played in the Premier League, which of course is regarded as the best league in the world. It's not too bad on his CV, so I'd say he could probably cope with this game. So yeah, I would have him in there. And also thanks to El Celtic for his kind words as well in the chat. Phil and Liam are such a good duo. Thoroughly enjoy when you two are on. Oh, thank you very much. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Glad you are indeed. So another story that's doing the rounds, heading in a wee bit of an injury concern here. Apparently Callum McGregor didn't train fully today, and he's hoping to train more tomorrow. I think it'll be fine. I think it might be one of these red herring stories just to keep Rangers guessing. But I think McGregor plays. I know there has been some cases made that in some recent games when McGregor's went off, we've actually started to play a bit better. I know the St Mirren game, we were a bit up against it. We were in the trenches against St Mirren for a while, and then McGregor went off when it was Celtic 2-2, and then the roof just caved in with St Mirren. But I think all the subs contributed in that one. But the problem with if McGregor doesn't make it is if McCown plays. Now, I have no issue if Luke McCown was to play if McGregor was injured, but Bernardo's also injured. So then what do you do? And if you get an injury or somebody gets sent off and you've got to shuffle it around or whatnot, or you just get to that point in the game, 70 minutes, 75 minutes, some of the players are just blowing out their arse, and it's like, right, who'd I turn to play in central midfield? And you've now got Bernardo as well. So it does leave us a little bit loose there, but I think McGregor will be fine. And again, he's another one that we always say, if Callum McGregor turns up and plays to how we know he can play, and he tends to save his best performances for games against them, then he's so vital to this team, Liam. But yeah, hopefully that story that's doing the rounds doesn't come to much, because that one did get me a bit. I don't know if I like that necessarily.
You know what? There's another story to that as well. Is when would be the last time we started a full Celtic squad without one Scottish player in the lineup? It'd be Taylor out now, right? If it's no McCowan that comes on, that's the first 4 in 11 we've had in.
Oh God, yeah. That's a good question.
You know, Strachan era maybe.
Possibly. No, I mean, but Caldwell and McManus were always around in that team under Strachan.
What, right?
There's one for the chat. If anyone knows of a time when Celtic fielded a full 11 without a Scotsman in it, then drop it in the chat, because I can't think of one off the top of my head. But that would be a unique stat if that happened.
Yeah, I mean, Rangers seem to do it all the time. You know, it's one of the things you always notice as a fan, especially Scottish footballers. There again, off foreigners, and then I'll look at their side. No, I'll be the same there. You know, maybe that's why we need to get guys like Prentice and that in as well. I know you're saying that about Greg Taylor, that we've seen what he had to offer, you know. But I think there has to be better scouting thing going on within the Scottish game as well, because the amount of just players in general is so down that we're going to have to replace a lot of them with some Scottish players as well to be able to do our rules requirements and stuff for Europe.
Yeah, well, of course, the name that always comes up, and funny enough, he does play central midfield as well, is obviously Lennon Miller. Again, that's one that I think Celtic, I'd like to think Celtic are keeping tabs on that one, but you're going to get to a point where it's stick or twist. You're going to have to make a move for him soon, because what will happen is a team from England, or maybe even a team from Italy, as we, Italian teams don't seem to be bothered about it. They're quite quick at just going in and getting a deal done. And once that happens, John McGinn all over again. It's like the chances of us ever getting them are pretty slim until maybe he's like 35-year-old and looking for a last paycheck. But yeah, there's that about Lennon Miller, because again, I think I've seen enough from Lennon Miller to think he can definitely develop under Brendan, and can go on kind of. I mean, he looks good just now. He also get called up to the Scotland squad as well for these two games coming up next week against Greece. So he's definitely on the right track. But he is one that always comes up. But again, we'll need to wait and see what the Celtic board do. They do behave in mysterious ways at times. But I will throw this at you, Liam. I did say this on Tuesday to Regan and Russell, because Regan did bring this up and said he's worried about if we do win the treble and with what we've done in Europe this season, we're showing a bit of progress. Will the board take that as a sign that we don't need to invest? But as I said, with what's potentially going on across the city at Ibrox, I think the Celtic board, as we know, Liam, they are reactionary. They are not proactive. They're reactive. So I think if it's obviously happening with Rangers in this takeover they're having, where I don't necessarily think it's going to result in them spending plethora of cash, because again, financial fair play, but it'll give them some kind of stability now. And I think the Celtic board will obviously be very alert to that, and it'll be like, maybe this is the genius move. Maybe they've been playing 4D chess all along, Liam, with this harvesting money, because they've been waiting for this moment where they just thought Rangers are going to get a bailout one day, but we'll be ready when they are, because we are still sitting on a lot of cash, and we're going to earn a lot more cash that will come in at the end of the season from our Champions League exploits and TV revenue from that. So I think going forward, I know it could be famous last words, but I do genuinely believe that I don't think the board would allow us to fall drastically behind if their takeover is indeed going through, which they say looks like it is happening.
I don't know. I don't share your optimism with this board. I don't. You know, I think you look at Tierney, and I don't even know if Tierney's officially announced or not. But Tierney's like one.
Tierney is. They announced it, and they put out a statement bragging about how great our finances have been. And in there, they says, "Oh, we also announced that we're signing Kieran Tierney on a free transfer." So Tierney is announced. They haven't done any fancy graphics on the Twitter page or anything to say it. Just it was in a statement they put out.
Aye, it's like one of the Christmas presents you get that you can't use till summer. You know, living in a snowy climate, other than trot, you get a bike, can't ride it around the house, so you got to wait till the summer. Yeah, I mean, you never know with this board. It might be that they will try and big up the return of Kieran Tierney so much that they'll think that we forget that we didn't really have a great window as far as meeting the needs that we needed to address, especially as far as depth goes. And you can see that in the squad right now. I can't remember when we've had such little actual depth where I don't know who comes next after Yang right now. So is it Cummins? Or, so I don't know who that next player is like that we have that we can bring on. Usually like there's about, I knew there was like 2 or 3 wingers somewhere in the squad. I know a couple injured, but with the midfield, same with the fullbacks. Like the new Rocky thing, I still can't get my head around what's going on with that boy and why he's not had any time, any minute whatsoever. We got Adam Montgomery there as well, and I don't know, it just doesn't seem a lot of buzz coming out of our development squad and things like that. Somebody waiting that's wanting a chance that we've sort of recognised with the guys that go and watch the B team and stuff that like, hey, this is a player here that's waiting to break through. You heard it with Ben Doak and people like that, but yeah, it seems it's went really, really dry now. We had that other boy that we brought on a couple of times at the beginning of the season. He's gone now, right? That was the boy that when they signed the contract.
Yeah, remember the thing with Boston Lawwell as well in the summer? We got £3 million for him. Remember that? Remember he came back for a loan at Fleetwood, and then he got a bunch of games in the off season, and then he was basically punted to Watford. I don't know he was signed for Watford, but basically he went somewhere for like £3 million, and it's like that's a reserve player of ours. We got £3 million for him, so that just shows you again the money that we are pulling in, even for our reserve players that don't even kick a ball for us in a competitive game. It's insane the amount of money we're sitting on. So I just feel like I can't see us, again, it could be famous last words, and I hope it's not, but I just can't see us sleeping at the wheel. I just don't feel like, I think they've seen the state that they've been in for this long, that's probably one of the reasons why they've been a bit more careful. But I think if Rangers do get some kind of financial stability, which by all accounts looks like it will happen, then I think they'll be like, right, we'll show them then. We'll show them that we're not playing around here. So I think last season, when you look at the money we did actually spend, we're bringing in Trustable, was that 6 million, Engels 11 million. So right there, you're looking at 17 million right off the bat for 2 players. So we did, got to spend Adam Ida, 8.5 million, potentially rising to 9.5 million with all the clauses that were on it. Of course, people will debate if Adam Ida's actually worth that. But again, the money was actually getting spent, which is something that we keep saying. We're sick of these 1 million, 2 million punts in the hope that they become good. Some of them do. Some of them we sell for big, big money in a few years' time. But I'd much rather we'll try every summer to go for those 8, 9, 10 million players. Try and get 1 or 2 of them, and just add those sort of marquee name players. Because again, Liam, it's what big clubs do, mate. Behaving like a big club.
And I think we have to have a big club strategy as well, that when we do invest in these players and they don't work out, well, let's get rid of them. And if we get rid of them for, like, say we buy someone like Ida, right? Spend 9 million on him and you sell him for 7. okay, you know what? In the big picture of things, the sellings of the Boston Lavos and all that, that stuff more than evens it out. You know, you're allowed to make a mistake at that range, but you got to admit it. You can't just keep putting in and playing the guy until he goes on a free or something like that because, we tried. No, it doesn't always work that way. So you have to, this is a game where nothing is calculated and nothing, everything, that's sports, right? The unknown. So you never know if a player's going to come in and start flying. But you have to have some sort of process that if it doesn't, and he doesn't fit the team or his personality's not right, that we get rid of them soon. I mean, we did it well with getting rid of guys like Haksabanovic and stuff like that didn't seem up to odds, And again, right about the 4.5, 5 million price tag. And so it was easy to find another club for him. I think we came out a bit even on that. And it's the same with the Idas and that of the world. I mean, all right. And I'm not saying sell him, just using him as an example. But it's like you can, so we get 6 back from 7 back from him, we bought him for 9. If it's not working, it's not working. But you're still going to get a return on somebody for that investment. There's going to be qualities that are going to be good in another team or another system, so that and also just character, climate, all that stuff that we've seen, everything that affects players coming to Celtic, and sometimes we don't get the best. Or you get guys like Jota, Maeda, Cameron Carter-Vickers, where Schmeichel are playing for Celtic seems to have brought out something extra in them, and so not every player's like that and feed off the crowd the same way. But so I think we just got to be a bit more, savvy,
definitely. They don't need to spend. I mean, it's obviously it looks good when they do spend that money and you do get some quality players, but it's just about being smarter. And I do think somewhere in the timeline, the scouting talent has dipped Celtic. There was a point where we were spending this 1 million, 2 million tops on players, and they were all hits. A lot of people say it was the John Park era when Neil Lennon was in charge. When you look at it there, signing the likes of Benham Kyle, Izagiri, Gary Hooper, Anthony Stokes, Fraser Foster, Victor Wanyama. So all these types of players that came in,
Tom Rogic.
Yeah, Tom Rogic. I mean, it took me a while. It was a bit of a slow burner with Tom Rogic, but once he got going, Jesus Christ, what a player. But yeah, somewhere along the line, it seemed like our scouting just dipped and the due diligence just wasn't being done. But yeah, it just needs to, well, again, hopefully with David Pleat, who came in this season. Remember that happened? Remember that was a thing this season?
Remember talking about it?
Aye, exactly. Now, before we do our predictions, the infamous predictions for a Celtic Rangers game, oh Jesus, we'll do the guess the player from the start of the show. So in case you were late and didn't see who it was, this was the graphic that I brought up at the start. So tonight's hidden player behind the Bhoycie Bus logo, he played for Wolverhampton Wanderers, then he went to Celtic, Cardiff City, Accrington Stanley, who are they exactly, and Derby County. So Liam, any ideas?
I've got 2.
Okay.
Both left backs.
Yep.
First one is the Fox in the box, Danny Fox.
It's not Danny Fox. I can see your logic in that. It's not Danny Fox.
And then who was it? Was it did he square up to Arthur Boric? Lee Naylor.
Is it Lee Naylor? What rhymes with Taylor? That's right. It's Lee Naylor. It's another left back, another number 3. Yes, indeed, Lee Naylor, Wolverhampton Wanderers, Celtic, Cardiff City, Accrington Stanley, and Derby County. But yes, I do remember that as one of my lasting legacies of Lee Naylor, was him squaring up to Artur Boric at half-time in the Spartak Moscow qualifying game from 2007 that went to a penalty shootout. An infamous game indeed. But yeah, I remember the two of them having a square goal. But hey, Artur, as we've heard, he wasn't afraid to fight with his own teammates. Him and Aidan McGeady apparently battering each other all the time. So yeah, him and Lee Naylor, tensions boiled over. But he did also score a goal against Rangers in a 2-1 victory, albeit it was one of those dead rubber games. It was at the end of the Mowbray season when Lenny took over for the last 8 games, and we beat them 2-1 at Celtic Park, and Lee Naylor scored a massively deflected free kick off of Davy Weir. But hey, you take them all. No matter how they go in, Liam, as long as they go in, we'll take it. But yeah, he did get a goal in that fixture. So he has got one of those things. But yeah, he was an interesting one because left back was a position I always felt like we had years of struggle at, because Tosh McKinley I always felt was a good left back. The delivery he put in was good, and then Martin O'Neill sort of changed it up a bit, didn't really play left backs, and when he did go to a back four, left back also a bit of a weak area, and then Lee Naylor came in the striker, but of course Mo Kamara came first. And hey, again, I've talked about, Russell talked about Yang last week, where the bar is so low that anything above that is good. Mo Kamara set the bar so unspeakably low at left back. It was so low, it was in the ground. That's how low it was. And then Lee Naylor came in, but I thought his first season he was excellent, but then he started to peter off a wee bit after that. But when he was on it, I think under Strachan in the 06-07 season, I thought Naylor was fantastic for us.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're all, hard as nails, Naylor, right? Everybody liked the fact that, he did get stuck in and he did contribute in that. Yeah, I was surprised his career at Celtic was as short as what it was. I think he came in after Mo Kamara. I think the one before it was Ulrich Larsson.
Ulrich Larsson, now you remember him, aye.
He was with us for a while, and then I think it was like Mark Reaper and all that. We coursed about the same time. All our Scandinavians got injured around about the same time. And they all sort of shifted. And I mean, that's the one thing. Like, we've always done well with Scandinavians playing fullback, in our back line and that. And surprised we don't go there more. Although we did have Lager Bhoycie.
Well, he's a centre back, but big Mikael Lustig is obviously the standout one when you think about it. Fullbacks, yeah.
He was just one of the players that stuck out. I remember seeing him against England, and it wasn't long before he signed for Celtic. And I was, you see these players, first, he's got dark hair and that, and stands out in the Swedish team. Yeah. And I was, that would be a player absolutely brilliant for Celtic. And then, one of the brilliant happy surprises, like, hey, we're signing Mikael Lustig, and you know exactly who that is. And yeah, I watched him torment an English defence when he was, like pushing forward and that, and I was like, he'd be a terrific player to play in the hoops, and I really, really enjoyed his time at Celtic, and
yeah, he was
good. I hope he's one of these guys that comes back more and does some of the podcasts and stuff like that. I suppose he was a right good laugh, and
he does. He's been doing work this season, like taking photo shoots for like one of the shots we put out this season. One of the many shots that Adidas put out for us this season, that green one with the yellow trim. He was modelling that with the bucket hat on and everything. So he comes back and does that. But yeah, I love big Mikael Lustig. He was great. And obviously the last couple of years of him, his legs had gone a wee bit, but he was excellent. And also Scott Howe asked who's the ref. It's Stephen McLean, I believe, is the referee on Sunday. So will that play a part? Hope not. Jock Steen always said if you're good enough, the referee shouldn't matter. So, Wiseman, before we go, what's the score going to be, mate? How's it going to go?
If we start our team and we go with Schlupp and Maeda in the middle, Jota on the wing, everybody else is who they are, Trusty, Callum makes it to the middle, I think this is a team imposters that we're playing. They're going to be tired. Whether they've got their fans there or not, and their fans, they don't like playing in front of their fans. They got beat the other. Forget they got beat. They've lost 4 games in a trot at home, so they'll be glad to be. They'll be glad to be getting away for their fans, but no, their fans are going to be there, but they'll be drowned out. And I think they're going to see a big club. This isn't Galatasaray. This is the Fenerbahce. Did you see the guy in the crowd? There was a guy in the Turkish crowd said, Mon the Fenerbahce.
Fenerbahce.
Which I thought was quite good pattern. Obviously, somebody gave him that walking into the stadium. Yeah. So I'm on the Celtic tomorrow. I think they're 3-0. And being generous with it, 3-0. I think they're on a pace, and I don't think they're nearly as good. I don't think they realise how good we are right now.
It's up to us to show it. We are the champions after all. So let's see what some of the chats in. James Kennedy, he says 4-0. Scott Howe, he says 3-0. Gary Brown 2-0. There's a pattern here. We went 4-0, 3-0, 2-0. They're going down the way, but no deal Amsterdam. He says 5-0. So there we go. We're going back up the way. Smell the glove 3-1. Alan Devine 3-1. Schlupp first goal.
Like that.
Pat O, you're usually in here telling us the betting odds. He's got 5-1. Hoops Engels hat trick. A hat trick of penalties that might be. Could you imagine? Us getting 2 penalties in one game against them? Jeez, that would be something. But 3 penalties.
as they say in Jaws, we're going to need a bigger net if that happens.
Joe Henry says it shall be 3-2 Celtic. Oh, a bit of a tasty one there. Timmy Bing though, he's just balls out here 7-0. He's just like, come on, 7-0, no bother, no bother. Yeah. There you go. Monty 4-1. Yep. So comes to the 420 says 5-0 as well. So yeah, I think Celtic have definitely got it in them to have a score line like that. There's no doubt about it. And we've had victories of that level against them at Celtic Park in recent years. I think the only thing that can really keep Rangers in it is just pure determination and hatred fueling them. Adrenaline will definitely carry them through. I'm not buying in too much to them being too tired, because we did have a similar scenario a few years ago. They went to extra time with Braga and then beat us in a cup semi-final on the Sunday. So again, with this fixture, adrenaline can carry you through. But ultimately, Celtic, if they do turn up and play to the best of their ability, and the crowd just stick with them and just make it so uncomfortable for Rangers, because we know what they're like when fans get on top of them. It could be a very ugly day. So I'll say Celtic will win it. I'll go for 3-0 as well. But see, right now, if it's a scrappy 1-0, deflects off of Adam Ida's arse on the way into the net, I'll take it right now. Any victory will do. It's all about just getting the wins, getting one step closer to the title. But yeah, I think if we turn up, I think it'll be about 3-0. But I say right now, just as long as we win, just do it, Celtic. Come on, just get out there and get it done. That's what we need. So yeah.
Well, Philly, what do you think their first song will be? Hey, are you going to be at the game?
I will be there. Yes, I shall be in the game. Good old block 139. I'll be there as normal.
Brilliant. What do you think their first song will be?
Oh, the Rangers fans.
They're going to embarrass themselves in there. They're going to go right. They're going to go right as soon as they get in there.
There's definitely going to be they're going to be piping up with hello, hello, and telling us they're up to their knees in Fenian blood, because that's their pure defiant song, isn't it? You know, in the face of Defiance, they're in that cargo net, 2,500 of them, they'll just pipe up and whatever. I say I'm whatever. You know, I'm happy that there's going to be an atmosphere. I like the needle and the hatred in the air, because that's what it's all about. You know, football rivalry. This is what it's all about to me. So I'm just like, let them sit there in the corner, and if we go on and we tank them, if we have a great day and we give them an absolute doing, then it's going to be horrible for them. They're going to have to just sit there in their little cargo net, and they can't go anywhere. They can't leave the stadium. They're going to have to sit and watch it. So yeah, I'm all for it. Let them sing all the stuff they want to sing. I'll be enjoying it, man. So yeah, I'm looking forward to Sunday. It should be a cracker. See, Celtic know what's on the line here. They know what they need to do. Again, when it comes to team talk, I don't think there's much to really say to them. You know, they know what happened in January. They know the black eye they took there. They win this game, and it's 2 more wins to the Premiership titles wrapped up. And, of course, it's against Hearts the next game as well, which has always got a wee bit of needle to it as well. So, yeah, it's all there for Celtic to go and get it done. So, come on, Celtic, just go out and get the points on the board. And if you can give them an absolute doing as well, even better. Right, so we're heading off. Will there be a Friday feeling next week? Because it's an international break next week. Oh no, Liam. Oh no, that's two of the dirtiest words in football, international break. Oh, disgusting. I was enjoying that 6 months without internationals, but yeah, Scotland are playing, so there's no game to preview next week, but I don't know, we might still pop on and do something. We'll wait and see. We'll play it by ear. But yeah, we're heading off anyway, so enjoy the game wherever you watch it, however you watch it, whatever country you're in, however you manage to watch it. If you go to the game, if you're watching it in the house, if you're watching it in the pub, enjoy it. Hopefully a nice Celtic victory, another 3 points on the board, another step towards the title, another step towards the treble. So yes, we shall see if Barry's Brogy Bears are smarter than the average bear come 2 o'clock on Sunday. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, we shall catch you on the next one, folks. Thanks for tuning in again, and hit that like button on the way out as well while you're going. And yeah, we will catch you later. Cheers, folks.